Hello there everyone, future feature film director The Rookie Critic here, and I'm sure that some of you grew up watching Power Rangers, but most of you probably didn't. You thought it might have looked a little too cheesy for you, or your parents never let you watch it, or whatever. Maybe you watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then maybe even up to Zeo Turbo, and probably ended it in space, and thought, they're all going to decline from here, they're not as good as they used to be, which I can totally understand that, but I'm here to tell you guys, this video is more directed at you, that there are some Power Ranger seasons that might catch your interest. And this is me looking back at it as an adult, and yeah, some of them are pretty good. I'm going to go in more detail about these seasons and do more spoilery stuff in the future, so this video is just to grab your interest. It's just a giving the tidbits about the seasons as to why you might want to watch them, and maybe you can watch them before I make those longer videos. My first recommendation on our list is Power Rangers Jungle Fury. That was about the 13th Power Rangers season in the whole entire series, and the whole show is based around martial arts. If you guys like Cobra Kai, you guys might like this season as well. I'm not comparing it to Cobra Kai in its entire quality, but the whole show is about learning different fighting styles and different techniques. The Rangers go and learn from different masters. The Rangers are students. Even the Red Ranger is a rookie, and his two companions are more skilled than him. They have to teach him the way. They have to show him some of the ropes, and they have to work together as a team. And there's a lot of things that they do in here that are very Karate Kid-esque, where they're being trained in a way that doesn't seem like it's really training, but they are learning a layered lesson in the meantime. And with the villains, there's a lot more complexity to go with the villain rankings. The main bad guy is usually the most powerful, but in this one, our main bad guy, Daishi, has to work his way up. He ends up trying to learn from old evil masters as well. So at the same time with the Rangers, he's learning and getting stronger, and this creates a great dynamic where the good guys and the bad guys are at this constant back and forth on the power scale on who's actually getting stronger and who's winning. The Rangers will often win their battles weekly as they do, but the bad guys will make their own gains in their own way throughout the show, so it doesn't feel like the Rangers are just constantly pulverizing them the whole season like a lot of Power Ranger shows might do or might seem. That's how I felt like Mighty Morphin was for a while. And even the non-action human stuff is done well here. They do a lot of great development and a lot of relatability, honestly. They do such a good job with this whole season. This one is what I call just nearly perfect. I wouldn't say that it's perfect, but it is damn near close, considering it what it is, considering it's Power Rangers, and considering it has this cheesy attitude normally through it. And yes, there are a few things in the show that are the classic cheesiness of Power Rangers, but they take themselves seriously where they need to, and they joke around quite often where they need to as well, and there's a great balance with it. They balance it well in this season. This is why I call it the best season of the entire series right now. There are a few Power Ranger seasons I have not seen, but I'll be watching them soon. There's just a couple more I'll have to knock out, but from what I've seen so far, Jungle Fury is number one. And the second Power Rangers season that I recommend you guys check out is Power Rangers Time Force. Now this one is what I consider to be the most adult of all the seasons. The Red Ranger and Pink Ranger are engaged to be married, but then the evil villain Rancic kills the Red Ranger and gives the Pink Ranger this huge lust for revenge, and she's got this huge passion with her. She is probably the best Pink Ranger out of the entire shows that I've ever seen. Of all the Power Ranger seasons, she's probably the best one, and there's a lot of great character in this show throughout the entire show. There's like 4, maybe even 5 excellent characters and great development arcs along with them. That's Quantum Ranger, the Red Ranger, the Pink Ranger, Rancic, the evil villain, and his General Frax. There is some awesome character stuff that goes with that. And along with those right there, there's a theme throughout the entire season of hate with humans and mutants and robots. This huge triangle of different types of reactions and hatred to each other. One does something to the other, and the other one does something to them, and there's just this cycle that goes all the way through, and there's a lot of things that you can take from that, and you could relate some of that to real-life things, but they do not beat you over the head with trying to make that type of comparison. They're just having it be the fun with their own show, but they do it really well. They hold back on some of it so that it's not directly in your face about it. And one last thing about the show that I think would sell a lot of people is that there's some rich and poor dynamics. There's father-son. There's a lot of father-son in this, which the father in this is played by an actor that you might recognize. So that might be another reason to check this one out. And of course, like I said, there is cheesy when it needs to be, but then it is serious when it needs to be. The finale is one of them. There's quite a few episodes where you're really like, the tone shift will switch sometimes, and it's like, Okay, for Power Rangers, considering what Power Rangers was with Mighty Morphin and stuff, which you guys know of, this takes that up a notch. And the third one that I recommend is Power Rangers SPD, which stands for Space Patrol Delta. Now, if that doesn't sell you on a name, I don't know what will. But this season is heavily influenced by Time Force, the way that a lot of it works. There's a lot of similar dynamics that they try to implement here, but they do it in a deliberately different way. So, and if you see Time Force, then you see SPD, you can see some of the connections that I'm trying to make right here. Now, this season has a lot of callbacks to previous stuff. They acknowledge the Power Rangers history, and in this season, there are no secret identities. The Power Rangers are known as the protectors of the Earth, and they are there to protect the Earth and the galaxy as best they can, and there's an evil alien force trying to invade the Earth, and they're trying to get something specific. And the A squad, there's a couple of different squads of Rangers, and the best squad, the top squad, disappears right away, and then our B squad has to step up, and they are clearly seen as the underdogs. And there's only the two Ranger teams essentially, but there's other squadrons that train to essentially become Rangers at some point with Space Patrol Delta. And I think that that's a pretty cool dynamic. They're constantly working on different technology that they're trying to integrate, so it's not like they have a magical force thing. They are trying to create their own Ranger stuff to defend the planet. And I'd say that this team of Rangers is probably one of the best solid teams, except for there are some things with them that are a little janky here and there, but at least the dynamic between the Red Ranger and the Blue Ranger are done really well. And they also have what I consider to be the best mentor of the entire Power Ranger series. This knocks Zordon out of the freaking water. If you guys thought Zordon was a great leader, Doggy Kruger would kick his butt. However, I do think there are still quite a few consistency type of issues throughout the show. There's some nice dynamics that they bring up, but some things they don't return to, which is a little bit annoying. It is a little bit frustrating. So there are some issues with this season, but I would still say that it's one of the best regardless, and highly better than Mighty Morphin. And now for the last recommendation. This one is just on here because I know that a lot of you would like it for nostalgia's sake at least, but I think it also is a decent season. Not one of the best exactly, but I would say this is okay. This one is alright, and this is Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Now, I know why a lot of you would love it is because our boy Tommy Oliver, played by Jason David Frank, makes his return, and he is basically the mentor figure in this part of the show, and he does return as the Black Ranger in this one, and so a lot of you will get a huge kick out of that. They kind of go back to their roots with this one. It was the 10-year anniversary from Mighty Morphin, so this one is a very nostalgic-based type of season, and it has a dino theme, of course, and it's got kids in school again, and he's a mentor, he's a teacher, and everything, kind of like an Indiana Jones-ish, and it's an okay season. There's a lot of good things that they do in this season, but there's a lot of things that they missed out on, and honestly, Tommy Oliver is kind of an overrated type of character. Everybody just assumes he's super cool, and it's like just based off of a few things he did in Mighty Morphin and stuff, and it's like, there's a lot of other characters, especially in the previous seasons that I mentioned already. There are far better characters in those seasons. Tommy Oliver's an okay character. I wish they would have done more with him as far as depth, but it's not that much to be desired. But I feel like a lot of people that loved Mighty Morphin would probably love this season despite the flaws that it might have. Anyway, that brings this video to an end. Those are the ones that I recommend you guys check out. I'll be finishing off RPM at some point in the future. I have no idea when I'll finish Power Rangers RPM, but so far that one's looking like that might be a contender for a top spot type of thing that would have boot Dino Thunder out of the list here. So far seems like a pretty good premise with it being post-apocalyptic and all. That's an interesting way to do Power Rangers, I would say. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments, and have a great rest of your day.